Let me ask you something. You're getting leads, right? Opt-ins, DMs, and inquiries. Maybe you even got ads running. But those leads, they're not turning into calls. They open the email, they click the link, and then they disappear. And you're sitting there thinking, what's wrong with my offer? What's wrong with my targeting? Should I change my niche? Here's the thing. There's nothing wrong with your offer. The problem is what's happening in the gap between the lead coming in and the call getting booked. That gap is where your revenue's dying. And in this video, I'm gonna show you exactly how to close it. All right, let's get into it. You see, most funnels look like this: traffic, lead form, and book a call. And that's the whole system. And then people act shocked when nobody books. Here's what you're actually doing when your funnel looks like that. It's like you're walking up to a stranger at a coffee shop, sitting across from them, all uninvited, and saying, hey, you wanna get on a call about working together? Cool, it's gonna cost $5,000. And then you're acting all confused when they walk away. Because think about it, you haven't built trust, you haven't solved a small problem, you even haven't demonstrated any competence, you didn't even explain your method, reduced risk, or created certainty. You hadn't created any of this, so they're gonna peace out. You just showed up and asked for the most expensive thing to sell from someone who barely even knows your name. That's not a lead problem, that's a targeting problem. And that's a sequencing problem. You're just skipping all the steps and the market is punishing you for it. Because high ticket buyers require progression, not pressure. Because you don't force someone into a sales conversation before they understand your problem, your thinking, and why your method works. That's why random funnels underperform. Because here's the thing, buyers don't move when they're interested, they move when they feel safe. And safety comes from familiarity, building trust, having repeat exposure, and having certainty. So you're building the relationship like this. And none of which exists inside a book a call funnel. And here's the painful part, guys. Every lead you got, you guys already paid for. You did it with content, you got it with ads, with time, effort, and attention. But when someone opts in and disappears, you guys didn't just lose the lead, you lost the money to get them in here. And the leak isn't at the top of the funnel. It's in the middle between I'm interested and I'm ready. And that gap is completely fixable. Again, you don't need more traffic, you guys just need a bridge. And there's a concept I need you to understand before we go any further, and it's called the trust gap. Because a cold lead and a ready buyer are not the same person. They might have the same problem, the same budget, and the same desire for the outcome, but psychologically, they're completely in different places. You see, a cold lead is still uncertain. They don't know if your solution is right for them, they don't know if you actually done this before, they don't know if your results are real, and they don't know if they could trust you with their business. They're gonna be like, this guy, I don't know, man. Yeah, so when you ask them to book a high ticket call immediately, it feels too risky for them. And this is why most funnels feel heavy, because you guys are just trying to force trust before trust ever exists. And when buyers feel uncertainty, they hesitate and they just disappear. But here, a ready buyer is different. A ready buyer already believes that your method makes sense, that your expertise is real, and the outcome feels achievable. Bam, ready game with money. So by the time they book the call, the sell is almost pre-made. This call just simply confirms their decision. Alright, now we talk about the ascension. The idea that high ticket buyers don't make a decision based on the ad. Because they make decisions based on everything that they consume, from your content, your emails, your frameworks, your case studies, and your positioning. You see, it's the ad that gets the click. But it's the trust sequence that creates a buyer. You'll be like, right here, shut up and take my money.
Shut up and take my money.
And let's talk about winning before the call. Because the experts, coaches, and consultants closing deals consistently aren't just better closer guys. They're winning before the call ever starts. Because by the time the prospect shows up, the trust is already there. The buyer already understands the problem, the buyer understands the method, and the value. So the conversation feels natural and not forced. So the real question isn't, how do I convert more calls? It's, how do I close the trust gap between the moment someone opts in and the moment they're ready to buy? Because that gap is where the most of the revenue is hiding. Because this bridge right here is the entire game. Now we move to the lead to call system. Because this is the missing middle. You see, most funnels have a beginning and an end. Usually the beginning is the ad, the content, and the opt-in. And the end is book a call, but there's nothing in between. And that's why most funnels underperform. Because they assume interest equals readiness, but it doesn't. Because interest simply means, yay, this caught my attention. It doesn't mean I trust you enough to buy. And the lead to call system is what lives inside that gap. It starts the moment when someone becomes a lead. And its only job is move from, hey, I'm curious to, hey, I'm ready to buy. See, the first piece is the authority asset. Usually it's a short training, a framework, a guide, or a book. Something that immediately explains the problem, the method, and the opportunity. Like for example, I got my market offer blueprint for this book. And this is where all the authorities are, because instead of saying, hey, trust me bro, you guys are just demonstrating your thinking instead. Then comes the email indoctrination sequence, not random newsletters. Here, we're using structured messaging that reinforces the problem, your method, your positioning, and why the old way fails. Because each email removes another layer of uncertainty, because buyers don't need more information, they need more certainty. Then comes the trust bridge. Usually it's like a short video, a case study, proof, or more client examples like this guy. Something that answers, can this actually work for someone like me? You see, this is what professionals understand. They understand that trust is not assumed, but trust is earned step by step. And then we have the follow-up engine that keeps the conversation alive. Here we're using email, SMS, content reminders because timing matters. And most buyers don't decide immediately. And finally, the booking trigger, the right CTA at the right moment. Because when enough trust already exists, guys, altogether, these pieces do something your current photo probably isn't doing. They earn the call instead of forcing it. Because you don't need more leads, you guys just need a system that turns leads into ready buyers. And the call should feel like the next logical step and not the leap. And this is the indoctrination layer. And honestly, it's one of the most underused mechanisms in the entire consulting and info space. And the low ticket photo model is built around that very simple idea. Because the moment someone spends $7, $27, or even just real time to get attention, they self-selected. They made a micro commit, and psychologically, this changes everything. They're no longer a passive lead, they're an active buyer in training. They raised their hand, they invested attention, and they entered your world intentionally. And now you get time. Time to educate them, time to shift their beliefs, time to solve your worldview, time to demonstrate your methodology, time to show your proof, and time to build your certainty. You get all this time right here, bam, money in the bank. Because high ticket buyers don't buy because they understand your offer. They buy because they now see the problem differently. Yeah, so the indoctrination layer exists just to create a belief in transformation from I'm curious to this is exactly what I need. Bam, shift their beliefs. And by the way, it doesn't have to be a low ticket product. It could be a free training, a case study video, a framework breakdown, a masterclass, an authority book. They all could do the exact same job. The format isn't the point. The point is getting someone into your world long enough to shift how they think. Because in authority sequencing, this is what sophisticated consulting funnels understand. The buyer should not arrive in the call still trying to figure you out. The trust should already exist, the positioning should already be clear, and the value should already make sense, and that's sequencing. Guide them through the call. And here's the thing about the heavy call problem. If your sales call feel heavy, if you're fighting for every yes, and if your conversation turns into objection handling, the education didn't happen before the call. So you're trying to do what 60 minutes was should have done 7 days before the call even started. You see, the best salespeople don't close, they harvest. The sale was planned during the indoctrination, so by the time when the call happens, the property already said yes internally. You're just formalizing it. And that's why authority assets matter so much, guys, because they do explaining once and they compound forever. So instead of repeating yourself, handling the same objections, or selling from zero from every call, you let the system warn the buyer first. Remember, the calls should not create trust, it should confirm trust. So if your calls feel all hard, it's because indoctrination never happened. Okay, I want to stop here for a second, because I know some of you watching this right now have leads sitting in your CRM right now. People opted in a week ago, from 2 weeks ago, or maybe even a month ago, and they never even booked. So here's the thing that nobody wants to say out loud. Every day, those leads are sitting without a proper follow-up system, without indoctrination sequence, and without a trust bridge in place. So they're getting colder and colder, and they're moving on. And they're finding someone else who showed up in their inbox at the right moment with the right message. This isn't a future problem, it's happening right now. So if you want help building this system, from the indoctrination layer, the follow-up engine, and the whole lead to call sequence, I do this for clients directly. I do this in one call, and we'll map out exactly what's breaking in your funnel and what to build first. So go ahead and book a free one-on-one call below this video. If this is a problem you guys are dealing with, it's worth the 30 minutes of your time. Okay, now we go to the follow-up engine. You see, most people stop following up way too early. They send one email or maybe two, and then no response, and then they just disappear. And honestly, I get it, because it feels weird showing up. I know you don't want to annoy people, sound all desperate, and feel all pushy, but here's the reality of how buyers actually work. Most people don't buy because the timing is wrong. It's not because they don't want what you have. Think about it for a second. The lead opted in, they gave you their name, their email, and their attention. Like, so dude, that means something. They raised their hand, they said, yes, I have this problem. Yes, I want help solving it. And here's the real reason why leads vanish. Because people don't disappear because they lost interest. Because life happened. They got distracted, they got overwhelmed, they got busy, they got pulled into something else, maybe watching Netflix. So if your business disappears, you lose the sale. So the follow-up engine exists for one reason: to be there when the timing flips, to be the email they reopen, to be the name they remember, and to be the authority they come back to. You see, the money isn't getting more leads, it's extracting maximum value from the leads you guys already have. Because one extra follow-up email is definitely cheaper than another $1,000 in ad spend. And it works on people who are already warm. And here's day one. They opted in, they received the authority asset, and the first email hits. Enter mind, this is not a pitch. It's pure value from a framework, a case study, and an insight. It's something that makes them think, okay, this person actually knows what they're talking about. And day two is another indoctrination email. It could be a client story, a transformation, and a result. It's something that makes them see themselves inside the story. Alright, and day three, this is where SMS comes in. It's short, simple, and direct. Like this example. Hey, I just want to make sure you saw the resource I sent over. Worth checking out? Bam, and this is the resource you guys sent. And that's it. No pressure, just presence. And day five is a content touch point. From a short training, a video, and a case study. It's something that deepens authority and naturally transitions into a call. And now on day 7, now we make the offer again. It's direct and clear on here's what we do, who's it for, and what happens next, and how to book. And then day 10 is the breakup email. This is one of the most underused emails in business. You tell them this is the last message, you wish them well, and the door stays open if they ever need help. And truthfully, this email gets more replies than almost anything else in the sequence because it creates urgency without the pressure. And this is what real follow-up looks like, guys. It's not begging, it's not chasing, we're harvesting. Being present long enough for the buyer to become ready. And that's your follow-up engine. 10 days, 6 touch points across email, SMS, and content. That's the whole system. Alright, and now to recap the full overview of the whole system. The problem is not your leads, guys. The problem is the gap between the lead and the call. Like, here's the broken funnel. You see, most funnels just skip all the trust building. Instead, traffic goes straight, just book a call, man. And then people wonder why conversion is low. It's because the buyer hasn't earned enough certainty yet. You see, you're trying to close before the trust ever exists, and the market punishes you instantly for that. Okay, and now we go to the trust gap. Because there's a massive difference between a cold lead and a ready buyer. And your job is to close that trust gap before the call ever happens. And remember, the sale is not created by the ad, it's created by everything the buyer consumes between the opt-in and the conversation. That's the ascension over here. And the lead to call system is just the bridge. From authority asset, email sequence, trust bridge, follow-up engine, and a booking trigger. And each step builds on the last, and together, they earn the call. See, this is the difference between random marketing and a structured acquisition. Professionals don't rely on chance, they engineer trust instead. Alright, and then we move to the indoctrination layer. Indoctrination transforms a curious lead into a pre-sold buyer. Low ticket or free, it doesn't matter. What matters is the buyer goes through something before they ever go on a call with you. Because high ticket buyers don't purchase when they're interested, guys. They purchase when certainty replaces their doubt. And now we go to the follow-up engine. The follow-up engine keeps you present until the timing works in your favor. Because most people quit too early, but don't be most people. Because the money isn't getting more leads, guys. It's extracting more value from the leads you guys already have. And remember, buyers don't move from, hey, I saw your ads, to straight up, hey, take my money. They move through trust, and the businesses that understand that win the game. So if you want help building this in your business, the indoctrination sequence, the follow-up engine, the booking mechanism, I work with a small number of clients directly to install this system. We look at your current funnel, we find where the leads are dying without spending another dollar on ads, and we build what needs to be built to start turning that existing traffic into calls. So go ahead and book a free one-on-one call below. No pitch, no pressure. We figure out if there's a fit and what the next step looks like. So if you're getting leads but not getting calls, that's the exact problem we solve. So go ahead and book a call in the link below. Alright, I'll see you in the next video. Jeremy out.